Adam and Peter explore the crazy new world.
Welcome, Peter. I have a critical thesis for you. I read or I listened to some AI podcasts recently, and they all mention one fact: there will be no programmers in 5 years. This job description will not exist anymore. What do you think about this? I hope for some critical contrast here.
Bullshit.
Okay, continue.
Yeah, I know. I think I know where this comes from and what kind of the claim is. People would say ChatGPT or any other large language model can just do the whole programming, and there are examples which are really astonishing. Where people go like, "Look, I want to have a web page, and just tell the thing, create me this web page, looks like this, and a follow-up page, blah blah blah," and it creates the whole stuff. Fantastic. Or you have a code, you ask them, where is the program error, something went wrong, tell me what it does, and it fixes it. It's just like this. So these examples are really mind-blowing. I would say yes. Yeah, if I say bullshit, I would say nah. The extreme of the sentence, it is kind of a clickbait statement, is too much for me. There will be programmers, but they will be different. That's what I would say. Much
Yeah,
different,
well,
not compared to
if I read the studies, I am convinced that you are wrong. So I found two studies, or they quoted two studies. 92% of the American coders already use ChatGPT or GitHub Copilot to create code, and it's just 6 months. 6 months these tools exist on the market, and 92% already use these tools. So people who do not use ChatGPT or AI-driven code generators are dead. So they will not exist from my perspective. But what even more surprised me is the fact that 41% of the entire code base generated right now on GitHub is not being generated by a human being, but rather by AI. Come on, 41%, which means it's just 60% of code that is human generated right now. So if you ask me, give it just another 6 months, there will be like 80% of non-human generated code, and another year and there is no human generated. So this job description will not exist if you ask
Yeah,
me.
no, completely wrong. So what I say is, you're right with the numbers, maybe. What do the 8% people are doing? Maybe they're just code assemblers. So the thing that why I'm critical about this is, look, at the moment, nobody really does coding on their own, except a few lines. So what they do, if you go, there's a lot of movement of no code, low code. We have a lot of applications out there where you just click through stuff and code is being generated. And not only on the front end. The front end is, of course, the thing where the most of it happens. Look, when I was young, I coded a computer game on an
Really?
Atari. Yeah, so I wanted to be like,
You
hey,
studied chemistry, Peter.
I studied chemistry. No, yeah, but I was also a bit of a computer geek at this time. I was even coding hex code really into the computer, just typing stuff which was printed out without knowing what is going on. Compiled code in a way, but I tried to learn on my own, like an autodidact, some like basic and stuff, and wanted to code. And that's what I did manually. The first web pages I've written were in HTML in a simple text generator. Now today, nobody does it. The game developers are just graphical people with a plot, like art directors who create a movie scene. There's no need to know the programming behind it. When you're on the kind of the surface, the UI, it's absolutely clear that you just do graphics with some logic behind. And we come from a company with background where we have these kind of automation tools on the middleware, like workflows. You program them not with the if-then statements manually. You just click buttons and have a lot of graphical interface programming. That's what's happening anyway. And most of the programmers would have taken code from Stack Overflow and put it in there and kind of take what is there. If I were to find something, I hacked the PHP page for our internal learning system to have a different logon screen, not knowing what I was doing basically by just copying and pasting stuff. And this is bad programming style, but it's very often copy and paste anyway. So I would say, yes, that's right. And most is not human generated typed. like in old days. Completely right. This is not changing with ChatGPT. What I rather believe is the level of a developer is a different one. And if you have no clue what program language is, if you have no idea how, you've never written one statement for yourself or no technical background, if you're not a programmer mindset in a way, you will fail. Even if you use ChatGPT, you just get random shit. You don't, it can still create stuff which is not working. And you have no skills to judge. You have no skills to review it. Like an editor, when you go for you're a social media person, if you just have to think, create social media, have no idea what it basically does. You don't even speak the language that the output comes to you, like it creates Chinese and you don't know Chinese, it will not work. That's why I believe you have some knowledge. You need some knowledge, and the job will stay, but completely different. That's my belief. So maybe we
Okay,
are right in the same thing.
I again have to disagree because I read all the Reddit posts like on a daily basis, and there are people who are not skilled in programming at all, and they create like extensions for browsers in just one single day, or they create new games without knowing how to program. So they tell this tool, I want this and this game to create this and this game, which would, by the way, to contradict your message about Stack Overflow. On Stack Overflow, you wouldn't ever find a game that is exactly the game that you want to build in your head. So it's a static code. And now you can ask ChatGPT without any programming skills to create a game where a snake moves around in a virtual world playing Pong with another snake, whatever. And it will create such a game in 1 minute for you. So what is the point of learning these skills for like 2, 3, 4 years if you can create all the things like with one prompt?
Yeah, my answer to this is the complexity itself. If you do these little extensions to, if you do, like in my case, if I do like something snapping for Excel or so, that's something I can just look up and do it for myself, and that's fine. If it fails for me, so no problem. When you go for, and that's where most of the programmers work in an integrated world, like you write code or you have something write code for a system in a car, or in a wind turbine, or in a nuclear power plant, or you're going in a company who creates software like SAP or so. The risk of having people that have no clue at all to just use a tool to create some output and put it somehow together would not be enough. So I believe that's why I say, yes, you will have programmers, maybe not on the extent that we have today, not the ones you throw kind of a task over the fence and they just type code or generate code on whatever way.
Mm-hmm.
And you assemble it later. But the level of the quality assurance, the level of the understanding of how these things fit together, also the understanding of the code itself. So it's important. You should know whether this is now object-oriented programming, whether this has some reference pointers or not. So the concept of a language needs to be understood. Otherwise, you get something you don't know what it is. And you would have to tell the thing, I need a Python code, because the only thing that I can plug it into my environment is Python. If you don't know that Python is required and the plugin required, blah, blah, you have no clue. So looking down the line, it can be really at the end, a couple of years from now, perhaps, that you have like engineers that don't need to know all the bits and pieces in a machine they're working for. But in the end, you still study engineering, that you're able to go to the abstraction level that you need.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And I asked ChatGPT to answer this question. So,
okay, let's see.
Will you replace programmers in 5 years? Well, programmers will likely continue to exist in 5 years and beyond. The role will evolve rather than disappear. Yeah. Programmers will focus on higher level tasks, such as architecture design, problem solving, system integration, and maintaining ethical standards. Additionally, programming requires human creativity and adaptability to tackle new challenges and develop innovative solutions. Yeah, so well, the
I would say
role,
this thing is right. It tells the right thing. That's what I also believe. So
but it also tells the classical programmer role will probably disappear.
Absolutely. That's what I would think as well. So I think we're not we just put it like you have the opposite opinions. I don't think so. I also believe the developers will vanish like we know them today.
Mhm.
But this was a trend that was going on anyway. Look, from low code, no code programming things, or citizen developers, that's the path we have been going down anyway. It's just much faster now and much better. Yeah.
Okay, now that we're reaching the 10-minute mark, and you know how strict I am, the final recommendation for programmers, whoever wants to become a programmer or is a programmer.
Yeah.
So 1 or 2 sentences from both of us. What would you recommend them?
Learn architecture, learn philosophy, learn the concepts behind, and then fool around with a couple of languages that you know what they look like, and then as quickly as possible go for no code, low code, and Jetty and all the other things that you're familiar with the environment. That's my recommendation for you.
My recommendation would be to learn the problem-solving skills or the design thinking skills, whatever it is, how to solve problems in the real world, how to talk to customers, how to talk to human beings, because even if you create programs, you need to sell your idea, you need to understand the problem. All these things that we teach in our training, this will become more and more important. Yeah, you will still code every now and then, but probably 90% of your work will be problem solving. And this is
Absolutely
would be my recommendation.
I totally buy your one.
So we kind of agree, Peter.
No, we don't.
We don't.
We
Bye.
do. Bye-bye.
Stay tuned. There is more crazy stuff coming soon.